A young couple encounter a strange humanoid creature watching them from the darkness of nearby woodland. An ex-policeman captures a mysterious alien visitor in a photograph in the wild moorlands of Ilkley. And a curious case of otherworldly visitors asking an ambulance driver for help repairing their spaceship.
Ilkley Moor, a vast expanse of moorland carpeted by bell heather, bracken, crowberry and bilberry, and peppered with enormous boulders made of carboniferous gritstone, some of which, legend says, are here as the result of an argument between a giant named Rombald and his very angry wife. But domestic disputes between giants is not our purview for today, because we are here to examine some of the cases of high strangeness that have occurred in and around the Ilkley Moor area. And our first case takes place in Silsden.
A woman at home in Silsden suddenly became aware of something beside the house. An enormous UFO, close enough to the property for its features to be clearly seen. Along one side of the craft ran a row of long cylinder-like forms, a repeated pattern of structures making up part of the body of the craft. It hovered there in silence, contrasting sharply with the normal scenery, the wall of the house, the garden, the neighbouring roofs, the road beyond. All the ordinary things of the town remained as they were, and yet beside them hung something wholly outside the expected order of the evening. Then the UFO began to withdraw. It moved in a slow and controlled manner. The witness had time to follow its departure, to register the direction in which it was travelling, and to see that this was no momentary flash. It moved cautiously away towards Skipton, gathering speed as it went, the quiet hovering presence becoming a rapidly departing craft over the Aire Valley. And this isn't the first UFO over Silsden in the record. In 1977, Mrs Brenda Helm, an old people's home warden, saw 3 UFOs over a period of 3 months, the most recent of which occurred at about 5 p.m. one evening. Mrs Helm was about to draw the curtains when she saw a bright light in the sky. Her 14-year-old son Alan saw it too, as did a neighbour. The light held its position for long enough to be observed and then shot straight upward and passed behind a cloud, where it appeared smaller. For a few seconds it remained there before travelling across the sky towards Kildwick at what Mrs Helm described as a terrific pace. Mrs Helm opened the window and listened, and to her astonishment, the UFO was completely silent.
UFOs are one thing, and probably quite frightening to see firsthand, but alien beings are quite something else. And perhaps the most famous encounter in this Ilkley area with an alien being is the Ilkley Moor Alien, a photograph of which was taken in approximately this precise area right here behind me.
Philip Spencer had been crossing Ilkley Moor in the cold light of a December morning when he noticed movement ahead of him. At first it was only a shape in the murk, low against the heather and stone, and then it became something more definite, a small figure, humanoid in outline, standing near the path as though it had been waiting there. The head seemed too large for the body, the arms were long. Spencer stopped. For a moment the two figures simply faced one another on the moor. Then instinct took over. Spencer raised his camera and took a photograph. The figure turned and moved away. It didn't run like a man. It didn't move like an animal. It withdrew across the broken ground with a strange, hurried motion, disappearing into the mist and the uneven folds of the moorland. Spencer followed, drawn on by the shock of what he had seen, but the figure was already slipping beyond reach. Then came the second part of the encounter. Beyond the place where the figure had vanished, Spencer saw something rising from the moor, a spacecraft, lifting silently from the ground, It was described as having a saucer-like form with a domed upper section, an impossible shape ascending into the grey Yorkshire sky, and within moments it was gone. Only later would Spencer realise that the morning no longer made sense. His journey had taken longer than it should have done, and time seemed to have slipped away somewhere on the hillside.
And if you want to see a full-length, in-depth investigation into that particular case, I've got one for you. Head over to the Eerie's Vault channel page, find the Alien Beings playlist, and the video's right there for you. Well, thanks for watching the video this far. I guess that means you're enjoying it. And if you are, please just hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment in the comment section below. And this is really important because that is what allows other people to find and enjoy this content in the huge soup of YouTube videos that they have to choose from. And of course, more views means a happy Mr. Eerie, and a happy Mr. Eerie means more videos for you guys. And if you don't know quite what to put in the comments section, just put, "Hello, Mr. Eerie." Now, our next case took place right here in Bingley, when a young couple had a midnight encounter with something strange in those woods, right over there.
Close to midnight, on a Saturday in late March, a young couple were walking back towards their home in Southlands Avenue in Bingley. Their route had brought them to Myrtle Park, where the River Aire runs between the parkland and Holme House Wood beyond. At that hour, the place would have been almost empty. The town was behind them, the river beside them, and across the water, the trees stood in a dark mass against what little light remained. They glanced towards the river. At first, there was only the outline of the woods, and then the trees began to separate themselves from the darkness, and beside one clump of trees, something else became visible. A figure, standing perfectly still. They could see that this was no ordinary passerby lingering beneath the trees. This form was humanoid, upright, and unnaturally tall, estimated at up to 8 feet in height. Its body appeared extremely thin, a narrow, vertical shape at the edge of the woods, fixed in place as though watching the couple from across the river. For a few moments the witnesses did nothing. The figure did nothing either. It simply stood there. No gesture, no approach, no attempt to hide. The couple, startled but not yet in panic, remained where they were and stared back, and for those few minutes the encounter held itself in a strange balance. The two witnesses on the park side of the river, and the thin humanoid figure at the edge of Holme House Wood, each apparently watching the other. And then the stillness broke. Without warning, the figure moved. It turned away from the riverside and went rapidly into the trees. The witnesses tried to keep it in sight, but its movement was astonishingly fast. Within moments, it had vanished into the woods, travelling at what they estimated to be more than 30 miles an hour. And yet, as it moved through those trees, there was complete silence.
Here in Keighley lived a man named Reg, and Reg was an ambulance driver, a man accustomed to responding to emergencies and to people in need. But one night in 1976, the emergency came to him.
Reg was resting in bed when he became aware of a presence in the room. Stood before him were several tall, thin entities, and what's more, they were communicating with him telepathically. They showed him a mental image of a strange pipe or a bent length of tubing, shown to him with the suggestion that it belonged to their craft. Reg took this to mean that these beings were asking for his help to repair their craft, and perhaps to his own surprise, he telepathically agreed to do so. This apparently triggered an abduction. Reg was made to lie prone on the bed, as though entering a catatonic trance. His body became fixed, motionless, while his awareness remained alive, and then he began to rise. He floated upward from the bed in a manner he later compared to an out-of-body experience. The ceiling above him ceased to behave like a barrier, and he drifted through it as though the solid fabric of the house had lost all meaning. Above the house was a craft. He didn't see how he entered it. The transition simply happened. One moment, he was rising through the ceiling of his home in Keighley. The next, he was inside the craft. The urgency of the repair now fell away, and instead Reg was made to lie on a table. A large eye-like device emitting a purple glow began to inspect him. It probed his body as he lay there, helpless beneath it, no longer the man called upon to assist with a repair, but the subject of an examination. He tried to ask what was happening, and the answer came back with a cold and almost ceremonial contempt. He was told something about the Alpha and the Omega, and then was informed that he was an insignificant being who, like a worm, should not ask questions. He was told that time was different for them.
Quite what to make of that one, I really don't know. What was it? A dream? A delusion? Fantasy? Or was it really an interaction with some extraordinary beings? Whichever it may be, there it is in black and white, in the record. In this book, in fact, Aliens, The Real Story by Jenny Randalls. I recommend that you watch my Ilkley Moor Alien video after this one. Just head over to the homepage, find the Alien Beings playlist, and there it is, waiting for you, for an in-depth exploration of that case. And until next time, keep your eyes on the skies, because there's plenty more in Eerie's vault.